When you're looking for somebody, it's like you're gonna be so, like I said, for a lack of better words, thirsty for a relationship or some companionship, when really we just have to learn to just be content with ourselves and just be patient, because you don't want someone that's not for you.
It's the Girl CEO Show. Run it up. Always on the grind, you already know what's up. Everything from dating to life and the business. Covering it all like a boss, come and get this. It's the Girl CEO Show. Yeah.
Hey best friends, welcome to the Girl CEO Show, where we empower women to be the CEOs of their businesses, their lives, and their homes. Today I have the pleasure of sitting down with my good girlfriend, Kay Coleman.
Yes.
You know, the new last name is still kind of growing on me. How you feeling?
I feel like a wife.
That's a wife now.
It feels amazing. Long time coming, girl. Lots of prayers.
Lots of prayers.
But we're here.
But we are here.
Yes.
You know, so much is happening and has happened for you over like the last 3 years. And let me be the first to say, like, let me give you your flowers. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, friend.
One of the things that I love is I just love to see women evolve.
Yeah.
You know, I remember back when you started your business and, you got it all going and you were just trying to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And today, things are just like taking off.
Yes, it's coming together. Finally. It has been a journey, but it's coming together.
Yes. So, Girl CEOs, Kay is a luxury extension educator who is taking the industry by storm. Kay, how did you get started with all of this, and how does it feel to be where you are right now?
It feels great. It just came, honestly, like the journey in being a luxury extension specialist, it just starts there. And when I became an expert at it, and I started to get a lot of people reaching out to me, asking me, like, what is this? Like, it was fairly new when I started doing luxury extensions. It was kind of like the hidden thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I see some white space here. So I jumped in and I was like, I'm going to master this first. Like, that's all I thought about at first. I didn't think about teaching. I just thought about just being great and mastering something. And I just wanted to make more money as a stylist. That's how it started. And then I started to get people reaching out to me like, what is that? Like, what's going on? And it wasn't until COVID, or we were locked in the house and I couldn't do hair, that I was like, maybe this is like the perfect time for me to put together a little video, put it out there, see if people, gravitate towards it. And it went off during COVID. I mean, I made like $10,000 in a day, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. People really want to learn about this technique. So during COVID was when I realized that, okay, I really think I should take this seriously. And I got my cosmetology instructor's license years ago.
Yeah.
But didn't know that I was going to be teaching on this level. I thought I was just going to work at like a Paul Mitchell or a Veda when I got older and just was tired. So I was like, well, let me get my instructor's license before I get burnt out, and not want to go back to school. And it's crazy because I feel like God sets you up in like situations where it's like you'll need it later, right? So I just had like my instructor's license in the holster, and I never thought that I would teach on my own platform. I thought I was going to be teaching in like a classroom setting.
Isn't it crazy how we kind of play small with ourselves versus saying like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to have this platform. I'm going to be this brand. We always kind of say, I'll be working for this person. Please, maybe, versus like, oh no, I'm going to be working for myself. I'm going to have my own brand.
Yeah.
And the business and the brand is exploding now. I'm watching so many people online who are getting into the industry saying like they're training with you, they're learning from you. And let me just say this, the beauty industry is the most lucrative
right.
industry.
So much money in the beauty industry.
There's so much money in the beauty industry. But let's get into the backstory, because I've watched you over the last 6 to 7 years evolve into the woman that you are today. And it has just been a beautiful thing to watch. Let me start with saying I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
Because you did not give up. So where did where did you get started? You know, how did this all start before you became the successful woman you are today?
So I've been doing hair for 13 years, off and on, really, because I've, like you said, tried a little bit of everything. I'm like, should I blog? You know, I kind of wore your clothes for your boutique at one point. So I was kind of just trying to find my way and what felt like natural for me. And I was in a relationship with this guy, and I was kind of like, you know, doing hair, and I was kind of mobile and just doing my thing. And it was okay. You know, I wasn't the happiest stylist, but I was content.
Yeah.
And it wasn't till I got into this crazy relationship with this guy. We will not say his name, okay? You know who you are. And it was just an eye-opening relationship. I wanted to, I guess, really create something for myself and for my children that was so independent of any guy that I could ever be with. And I really just started to pray over like certain words, because when you're like off your square, you're like, at this point, you're just trying to get back up again.
Of course.
So I started praying over like the word determination, because I was like, I want to be determined to do something.
Yeah.
Right. At first I didn't know what it was. I'm like, I just want to be determined to do something that feels like it's for me. You know, I can stand on it. It's sustainable. I won't fall off, you know, because I'm like, this is not working. Mm-hmm. And as a single mom at the time of 2, I was like, no, I have to figure this out. So I really just was sitting at the house, and I was applying for jobs, honestly, to work at a Paul Mitchell or a Veda. I was like, so now I have to just get a job, you know, because I was like, maybe that's sustainable, like something that just feels right. And I came across the luxury extensions, but I didn't have any clientele whatsoever, like zero. Like, I had fell off completely, like, nobody calling my phone.
So at this point, you are completely starting from scratch.
$0, 0 clients.
All right, ladies, listen to this. She is starting from scratch. 0 clients.
$0.
$0. And I want to kind of touch on
real
this.
Life.
Because you started this conversation off with, I was in this relationship. You know who you are.
You do.
Why was that relationship, why did you start it off that way? Do you feel like that relationship was weighing in on you?
Yeah, it was a very heavy situation, because I feel like I said, before I got in a relationship, I felt like I was successful in my own right. Wow. Like I was good, you know? I mean, today I wouldn't say that, but then you know what I'm saying? I was like, I'm good. And then I just wanted love. So I was like, I think I was a little thirsty for love.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? It hit different.
Let's talk about that.
I was a little thirsty.
Friend, let's talk about that. Because, you know, as women, we want to be successful. Mm-hmm. But I always say that success is just a very small portion of your happiness.
Yes, for sure.
Because have you guys ever been successful in business but miserable?
Yeah.
Personally. Like things are just not going great.
Yeah.
I have, you know, people aren't gonna say, but I have, right? So to hear you say that is a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, why do you feel like you were thirsty at that time?
Because I thought that was the piece of the puzzle that I was missing. Like, I was like, okay, you know, I'm making enough money. Kids are good. I'm like, but I'm just so single and not ready to mingle. I was like, no, I just want to show them what love looks like. Just my little fairy tale.
Who is them?
My kids.
Okay, got
just
it.
Just the kids.
Okay.
Like, literally, I have like a bubble. Not the people, just me and my family. I'm like, I wanted to show the children what love looked like. And the total success story for me was going to be business, you know, success, and then personal success.
Okay.
And I felt like I was lacking that. So when this guy came into my life, I was like, okay, this could be, you know, this could be it, you know? So I'm like so thirsty for love, not necessarily him, but just love in general. And he was a very sweet guy in the beginning, and we knew each other prior to us dating. So I felt comfortable. So I let my guard down a lot faster. And then it just ended up being the worst relationship I've ever been in my entire life.
Wow.
So I was like, oh, wow, so I learned a lot too, because I feel like, and I never like regret any of my experiences, because I always come out on top and learning something.
Yeah, we learn
like
from
a
them.
lot. So I was like, okay, so never be thirsty again. That's for one. slow it down. Keep your eyes peeled, see all the signs, and really you have to go into a relationship with different intentions than just wanting love. Like, you have to love yourself first. So when I came out of it, I said, okay, this is a me issue, and I need to really work on loving myself totally whole so that I can go into this next relationship, because I know it's coming. I know God wants somebody for me. I know I'm not supposed to be single.
So let's kind of talk on that part there, because I think that as young girls, we are raised in a way where we are always glorifying that there's a prince coming to save the princess, right? There has always been the Snow White, there has always been the Cinderella, and I'm hearing so many women say that they've had success, but they don't feel accomplished because they don't have that relationship status, right? They don't have the boyfriend, or they have friends that are wives and they feel, less of. How do you feel that impacts women initially while trying to grow a business when they're not in that relationship? Does it create that thirst? How did that impact you?
I think that it really starts with, like you said, your mindset and kind of your upbringing and your support system and the type of people around you. Because when you feel like you've checked off all of your boxes, when I think that the issue is that we think we've checked all of our boxes, but we haven't checked all of our boxes. Yeah, you thought you checked off all of your boxes, but you didn't. And I think that's kind of where I was. I was like, I did all that I'm supposed to do. Like, where is my guy? When really, because I hadn't really checked off of that self-love box.
Wow. You weren't attracting.
Yeah, I wasn't. It wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right guy. Like I said, you see signs and you kind of sweep them under the rug because you're not self-aware and you don't really know your value yet. So I feel like, in order for you to really find, or not even find, it's gonna come. It's not something you can look for. You can't be like walking around with like beady eyes, like looking for this guy. And I think a lot of women do that. They're like, where is he?
Like putting themselves
I'm like,
out
no,
online.
he's going to literally just come.
Yeah.
It really is that random, in my opinion. You're gonna be somewhere doing something, not looking for that guy, and then he's going to come across you. Because when you're looking for somebody, it's like you're gonna be so, like I said, for a lack of better words, thirsty for a relationship or some companionship, when really we just have to learn to just be content with ourselves and just be patient, because you don't want someone that's not for you. And essentially, I feel like a lot of women are in relationships that really aren't for them. And they either settle, either for like status reasons, where it's like you're not really happy, but you like the title. Like, oh, I got a man. I'm like, but girl, are you happy though?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you genuinely want to be happy, and I'm genuinely happy. And I know that I'm happy because I learned to love myself first. Like, I was actually really happy single. Wow. I became to the point where I was just like, oh, I'm good, I'm like,
are you really happy single?
I was really happy single. Like, I always still knew that there was someone out there for me, but I was not looking for him. Again, I was far from thirsty. I was turning people down. I'm like, no, red flag, red flag, red flag. Like, if I'm dating somebody and I don't like the way he treated me, I will cut it off. Like, so fast. And they were like, whoa, like, she's not playing.
So what do you think women should be focused on?
I think we should just be focused on ourselves. Like, you really want to be whole for your relationship, because even when I was in a relationship, I would put a lot of that pressure on him to like fulfill me or like make me happy. And, I feel like it's a lot of pressure for the guys too. Like, if you're not, like, they're not your, my man is my bestie, but they're not necessarily supposed to be like your best friend, make you happy every day. Like, every day isn't going to be a happy day. Like,
that's for sure.
It's relationships are hard.
They are.
Like, it's not easy. I'm like, y'all rushing to get into this?
Yeah, they require work, and people don't realize that.
Yeah, it's not
especially if you're dealing with someone who's grown a business or they're really focused on their career, and you are really focused on your career as well. It's going to require some work to kind of keep that thing going. So you were in that situation. You were like, okay, I got to find myself. I got to get myself together. You start focusing on yourself in your home during COVID, because you've had your business for quite a few years, way before COVID.
Yeah.
I remember you growing your business about 6 to 7 years ago, and really getting to a place where you're like, this is not working.
Yeah.
And then you spend years trying to build and grow your business, and then COVID happens. You have this time to yourself.
It was so necessary. Oh my God. I know it wasn't amazing for a lot of people, but it was great for some people, and I need it. I'm like, I literally be like, we need another quarantine. Like, it was amazing for me. It really was the quiet time that I needed to like really hear from God and be like, what am I supposed to do next? And like, when you're so busy, it's like, it's hard to really have that quiet time. And it was during that time that I feel like my business changed completely for the better.
So tell everyone about your brand.
So my brand is a luxury extension business. We have a hair company essentially, and then there's like a whole bunch of things that are happening underneath the umbrella of being a hair company. So we don't just sell hair. We do hair, we educate, we supply hair to stylists all over the U.S., and we do ship overseas as well. But ultimately, I have focused my day-to-day on educating.
Yeah.
Because I felt like when I became successful, again, in my own right, and it was a next level of success, I was like, oh, and this is what success looks like? And I even still feel like there's more success, obviously, for me. But I was like, I have to tell somebody about this, because this, for me, was something that I could have never foresaw for myself. Like you said, we're just kind of like, I mean, if I can just, be able to feed the kids and not have to call my baby daddy for anything, like, life is good.
Yes.
And then when God showed me that that was just not even close to what he could do for me, when I saw that next level of success, I was like, I want to tell more people about this so that they can too be successful. So initially, I wanted to make sure that I was kind of reaching back and telling other people about this new level of success, because as a stylist for 13 years, I 100% knew there was other stylists out there that were making the average, which for a stylist is like $5,000 a month.
Okay.
And that's on average. And they're comfortable with that. They can pay their rent, they can pay their car note, and they can go out to eat every now and then and buy a bag once a year. Life is good to them. But then when you show someone that there's so much more in the beauty industry, because it's a $1 billion industry, and we're only thinking as a stylist that we can only get like this little slice because we're behind the chair and this is all we can do, and we're more givers than we are anything else in the service industry. And I was really trying to bridge the gap between being a service provider and making a lot of money and really changing my family's lifestyle.
And this is really important because there are so many people who are in service-based industries, even outside of hair, that are trying to gain and get their time back.
Yeah.
And I remember, you called me one day, you're like, Ronnie, like, I am exhausted.
Yeah.
I have to figure this out. What would you have done differently? Now you have a 7-figure business. You're shipping internationally. You're a teacher. You're working with students, thousands of students all over the world. If you could have done it over again, what would you tell people who are in any service? Is service.
Yeah.
And service is not easy.
I would definitely try to broaden just your mindset and like what your future can look like, because it can start in the service industry, but then your service industry position can turn into you now owning the entire company and offering jobs to other people who are in the service industry. So I feel like when you like something or you love something, because I love the beauty industry, I love being a stylist, I love clients and the camaraderie and the whole thing. So when you love something and you feel like something's missing, because like you get that feeling where it's like, I love it here, but something's missing. I feel like you have to just really think about how you can take that concept and just expand that vision, And I think multiple streams of income is the number one thing that I've always been drawn to. It's like, this can't be the only way I'm making money. There has to be another way. Yeah.
And I also tell entrepreneurs, and I'm going to tell you, girl CEOs, that when we say multiple streams of income, we are not always talking about going to start 5 different businesses.
No, always.
What we are talking about is figuring out 5 different ways to monetize your existing business, because sometimes we are not getting everything out of our business that we can get out of our business, and we're not looking at it on a bigger scale. You know, I tell my students all the time, stop playing small, right? Think big, think bigger, right? Think 10 years down the line, think 20 years down the line, because you just never know what that could potentially look like. And, you know, you had to get to a place mentally. I'm really stressing right now the mental transition that had to happen for you to get to a place where you were locked in and focused on your goals. Now, healthy relationships are a win. But often we see, you know, women really having a hard time focusing on their goals because they are in unhealthy relationships. Do you feel like once you got in a space where you were 100% focused on you disconnected from an unhealthy situation? Ladies, listen to this part. How did your life and business evolve?
It definitely evolved, and it's crazy because it evolved rather quickly once I left. And again, I'm a Sagittarius. I don't know if any of you guys are, but when we have a breakup,
Aquarius.
It's like,
I'm an Aquarius.
Listen, it takes
Sagittarius.
It takes me like maybe 2 weeks to get over you. 2 weeks, and I'm like,
so is that how Sagittarius are? Like, they get over people really quick?
Yes. Okay. And my husband is nervous. I said, don't be nervous. You're good. You're good. But it's like when you're in it, we love hard and we give it our everything. But then when we're done, it's like, okay. It literally took me about 2 weeks to just stop crying and being depressed and saying, you know what, I got to get up, get out, and get myself back.
Shout out to the ladies that only need 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I'm soft. I'm emotional. That's
2 weeks
not my
is
life.
all you're going to get, and then I'm back. Okay, like I never left. So I really started to, like you said, I started to think bigger because I was thinking small. Literally, I was thinking for like the day or like that month or just like you said, it was just one income stream. I wanted to just have like this one situation. And then once I got out of that relationship, it's like my mind just opened up. And honestly, because I had no clients, no money, I literally left with zero. I got up and I went and got a job at Ulta Beauty, making like $10 an hour. It was so hard, but I said, I have to get up and go to work. Like,
best friends, we have to touch on that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you are starting over, you are going to have to do some stuff that you don't want to do.
Yes.
You're going to have to humble yourself. And listen, if you don't humble yourself, God will humble you, right?
Really fast.
Really quick.
Yeah.
But sometimes he'll test you just to see if you are willing to humble yourself, to do some things that you're uncomfortable with, because it's not always going to be pretty.
Right.
Like, that had to take a lot out of you. Like, let me start over. Let me go get a job.
I felt like a baby.
How much were you making at Ulta?
$10 an hour.
How much?
$10. It was so bad. I had to move in with my mom, first of all. Me and the kid. It was that bad.
That part.
I couldn't afford any bills. When me and my ex broke up, I just left one day. I said, you know, I'm not coming back. I took literally a small bag of clothes that had my children's uniforms in it, and I never went back.
Listen, life happens.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Life happens, and no one talks about that shit, right? There are going to be moments where you're going to have to start from scratch. You could be up one day and literally lose it all, and you have to start over. So let me celebrate you, sis. Starting over.
More flowers.
We got any more flowers?
We need more flowers.
We need more. Somebody go get the flowers. Starting over from nothing. You had to move back into your mama's house as an adult.
It like you said, life will humble you if you want.
Life will humble.
I was like, okay, whoa.
Life will humble you. You move back into your mom's house. You go work a job that's paying $10 an hour.
And they worked me. You hear me?
Did they work you?
They worked me. I was like, wow. And it's crazy because when you've been an entrepreneur and you were successful, and then you go work for $10 an hour and you're living at your mom's house, and I'm literally there because it's like an outer body experience, honestly.
How did you feel in that moment?
Okay, girl. I was like, I'm better than this. Like, in my mind, I'm like, this is beneath me. I'm like, you are so much better than this. But I will tell you, I had to wear makeup. to go there.
Wow.
I had to do my hair.
Wow.
So it forced me to like get dressed. So I really do appreciate that time I spent there, because even though it paid me pennies on the dollar, and I knew that this was going to be a temporary situation, that I knew for sure. I said, well, this isn't going to last long. But it did give me an opportunity to start back talking to people, you know, trying to figure out my jam. And I actually convinced them, the manager there, to allow me to do extensions, because they weren't offering extensions at Ulta. They were just doing like blowouts and color. And I was like, listen, we got to start doing extensions in here, because if I'm going to transition over to commission one day, like this blowout situation is not going to work. I'm like, I'm not going to make it up. So she actually called corporate. They put extensions on the books. So I started recruiting like luxury extension clients at Ulta.
Wow. So let's really tap in on that really quick. Sometimes you have to ask for what you want. And, you know, what's really interesting is like God has such a crazy sense of humor.
He does. He's
like,
hilarious.
you like, this is beneath me. I don't want to do this. I'm making $10 an hour. I'm living with my mama. I have 2 kids. This can't be my life right now. I'm an entrepreneur. People don't realize how hard entrepreneurship is. Instagram makes it look so
It's
easy.
a journey, honey. It is a constant journey.
And I talk to women all the time, and I'm like, so what you gonna do? They're like, yes, I'm quitting my job next month. I make $100,000 a year. I don't know how I'm gonna figure this out, but I'm leaving. And I'm like, what? No. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
We're not doing that.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that we are set up.
Yeah, you got to test it out.
You got to test it out. Because this is not to be played with. You will end up back at your mama house.
Yeah, it's not for the weak.
With your kids, starting over from scratch. And I feel like it's an irresponsible thing to do when you have to end up putting that pressure and that responsibility on someone in your family because you walked away from a consistent income and you have dependents. Like when you have children, you got to move a little different, right?
You be prepared for entrepreneurship, for sure. Especially when you have, like you said, a good paying job and stability. You don't want to transition out and be unstable.
For sure.
Like, come on now. It's definitely got to balance out 100%.
So you start working at Ulta. You convince them to put extensions on the books. You start taking extension clients. And how does your life change from there?
It was crazy because I started to recruit like girls that were like walking around. I'm like, I do extensions in the back, you know? Because I'm like, that sounds better for me because it's more me. So I'm like, I do extensions. They was like, wait, y'all doing extensions back here? I'm like, yes, I'm the extension specialist. I started calling myself the extension specialist. I gave myself a title, honey.
Give yourself a title.
I was like, I'm an extension specialist. No, I said, I'm Ulta's new extension specialist.
Okay.
So I had kind of like, you know, the clout from Ulta because everybody was shopping in there. So I was like, how do I make this this better? Like, this has to be a thing because why am I here?
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm the new Ulta extension specialist. You know, you come see me in the back. So I literally would recruit girls.
Promoting yourself.
Literally all the time.
All day.
Literally, if I wasn't doing hair, they was like, go around and try to get people's numbers. You had to network. So I was really learning a lot about networking, practicing, just how to like, you know, get people to the bag, do like soft consultations. So I was really like, again, not really knowing that this is happening right now. I'm just trying to figure out like, how can I make the best of this situation? Because if I'm going to be here, I got to really try to figure this out.
And if you want to be successful, you are going to have to promote yourself.
Yeah, and they force you to. And you had to do like calls. It was
Life
like protocol.
To.
Yeah, they were like, you have to call these people and follow up with them. I'm like, okay. Like I do all these things. And now these are the same practices we do in my business now. So I'm like learning and seeing all these things. So I built a small clientele of extension clients. So I actually only stayed at Ulta for 30 days.
30 days.
30 days. That's all I had for them. And I felt like I had like a nice little clientele of girls who wanted to get their extensions done. And I was like, I'm taking y'all with me. And they said, we will go wherever you go.
Don't sue her, Ulta.
Please don't. Right. That was definitely on the do not do list. Was taking clients.
But you know what? Let me just say this. Relationships are so important.
Yeah.
And I think so many of us take that for granted. You know, we don't realize that it's really not about just getting a quick sale or making a quick dollar, you know, or let me get this person in here really, really quick. It's about nurturing that relationship. It's about getting to know people. It's about people feeling comfortable with you where they don't want to go anywhere else because they only want to work with you. And it doesn't matter what type of business you're in.
Right.
If you develop that relationship with your clients, if you're following up with them, if you're checking on them, if you're solving problems for them, if you take, interest in their personal life, their birthdays, holidays, just acknowledging the small things, those little acts of kindness, they go a very long way in business.
Yeah.
So you leave Ulta.
I did, and I had nowhere to go. Literally, I still didn't have enough money for like a salon suite or booth rent.
So you still playing out here, okay?
I was still out here playing in these streets. But I came up with this concept, like I said, over 30 days.
Okay.
Of taking the show on the road. I said, I'm going to do luxury concierge services with the extension business. So I was like, I don't want to do hair at my house because, I don't have a house, right? So you can't come to my house. I was like, so I'll go to their houses.
Okay.
And I turned it into a whole thing. I had a photo shoot over the course of those 30 days when I was at Ulta.
So how important is documenting the content?
Yeah, I mean,
do you feel like the
everything.
content is what really blew it up?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's like content is currency. Like without content, it's like, is it really happening? And that's the word we live in now. It's like, if you're not capturing the moment, it's like it didn't happen. So I created like this content. I had a content day, that's what I call it, of simulating luxury in-home experiences.
Wow. So you set up a camera.
I set up a camera. It was my iPhone, right? Mind you, I had got some models. I put my brand on everything. So it said like luxury concierge business. And my friend had a really nice house. And I was like, let's just shoot it at your house if you don't mind. Let's get some models in there. And I'm going to just act like I'm doing their hair just to create like the vibe.
The promo video.
Yeah, it's like a promo, right? And I'm going to let all my clients know that I have now that I'm going to start traveling to them. And they really couldn't wait. They was like, oh my God, thank God. Like they really gravitated towards the concept because a lot of them were high end anyway. And they didn't want to leave the house and go to the salon. I was like, I'll come to you. I mean, they're all over the city. Alpharetta, Latonia. I'm all over the place.
So you're in Georgia,
by
the way. She's in Atlanta.
I'm in Georgia. All over Georgia, by the way. I was all over Georgia. I had an Acura, and I'm saying I put that baby to work. You hear me?
She put some miles on that.
I put some miles on her. But it did really well. Again, I wasn't really happy still, but I felt like I was getting back to like
making some
myself.
Progress.
I'm making more money now. I'm an entrepreneur again.
Yeah.
I got to build, a loyal clientele of women who genuinely wanted me in their homes. And I really appreciated them for letting me in their homes because like we're no longer like in a salon environment. So like they trusted me to come to their houses. And it was really just the referrals from the small group of women that I did have that really started booming. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm literally like high rises, mini mansions. I'm like, and I'm just looking around and I'm like,
it's inspiring.
It is. I was like, wow, I want to be living like this. Yes. Like, what do I have to do to get this type of house and this type of car? So it was definitely inspiring. And I felt like I just had a really good network of women who genuinely wanted to help me. They were like trying to invest in me. They were like, you are just so dope. Like, what can we do
to help
you?
And sometimes we don't realize that there are people out there that really want to help us. Mm-hmm. And there are people out there that genuinely want to support us and refer us to people. I hear people talking all the time online, like, people don't support their friends.
Yeah.
And my clap back to that is like, the problem is you are too focused on your friends. Mm-hmm. Stop focusing on your friends. Focus on the people who you don't know.
Yes.
Focus on building those new relationships.
Fresh.
We can't expect our friends to build our businesses, right? We have to build our businesses. It would be great if our friends supported us, but we have to stop putting the pressure on our friends to the point where we feel like they are supposed to revive.
You're probably going to be the last person to support you because they're your friends.
Yeah.
And they know you kind of like this. So they're like, I mean, call me when it pops off. Like, call me for the grand opening.
And that's normally how it works sometimes.
And you have to accept
people that support you from the beginning.
Yeah.
But then you have people that they see that, okay, this is a thing. People are supporting. Let me go ahead and show that support now. But you can't, and I want to just stress this, girl CEOs, do not put the pressure on your friends
Definitely.
Let them organically come around. Girl CEO, let them see what you are doing. All right. And they will come around and they will support you. And that's okay. And if they don't, that's okay. But I see so many people like trashing their friends and breaking up with their relationships because they don't feel like they supported them in the beginning. And I just feel like we have to lower expectations in that area
for sure.
and just put our heads down and get to work.
Yeah.
It's simple.
I mean, that is the advice of all advice, because it's not about your friends. It's about you. And like you said, they'll come around or not, but either way, it's not about them, you know?
Yeah.
And like you said, you shouldn't put that much pressure on them either, because as a friend myself to another friend who comes to me about their business ideas, I'm like, call me when you get it going. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm not going to just sit down and help you build your business. I hope that's not why you came over, because I have my own business I'm building. I'll, support you in any way that I can, but I'm still looking for you to show me as a friend that you have what it takes to build the business. You know what I'm saying? Because nothing comes easy.
For sure.
Nothing comes easy.
And another thing that I liked about this journey is that you had to go back and pivot several times. And I want our listeners to hear that part, because sometimes we start in a certain space in our business and we think, okay, this is it. This is how it's supposed to be ran. This is how it's supposed to go. This is it. If it doesn't work out this way, then I need to completely shut it down and I need to venture out and I need to go into something else because this isn't working. Sometimes what you have does work. You just have to make it work a different way. So you start going to these homes, you're in mansions, you're in, luxury apartment buildings, you're running around like a chicken. And y'all know I am not one for like this busy kind of business work.
Girl, all right? I'm saying I was all over the place.
So I'm assuming that you had another come to Jesus moment.
Always.
And you were like, I can't be Uber.
Yeah, it was definitely a come to Jesus moment. And again, what you said earlier, I think is really true for my situation, was that I think he was just testing, like, how far are you willing to go? Like, how many times are you willing to try?
How bad do you want it?
Yeah, how bad do you want it? Like, are you willing to drive all over the city? Are you willing to go work for $10 an hour? Like, what you got? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I always tell people, too, like, give it all you have, and then I promise you it gets easier because he starts to work on your behalf. Like, I feel like I worked so hard trying to figure it out that now it's just like, whew, like, he got me, honey. You know what I'm saying?
So what happened from there?
I started to make enough money to get a booth. Jesus, won't he do it? I was like, okay, I can get a booth. So I started to get, this what really catapulted me trying to get a booth, because at first I was just, thugging it out. And then I started to get people from out of town that wanted me to do their hair. And I'm like, oh, wow. So now I don't have a place to do it because they're traveling to me, which that has never happened until I started doing luxury extensions. No one really traveled to get their ponytails done or a sew-in. Yeah. So I was like, oh, people are trying to fly in. This is different. This is new.
This is changing.
So I hit up a guy who owned a salon, and I was like, can I just rent like a station when I have a client that flies in? Because again, I still didn't want to like lock in, because my other clientele was so used to me coming to them. They're so spoiled rotten.
This is a bar. Let's make sure that we highlight this part. So you don't rush into getting a large amount of overhead, because I see people make that mistake a lot. Like, okay, I'm going to go get a building for $3,000. I don't know how I'm going to pay this rent. And I'm just going to see how this works. But you did something different. You're like, okay, I see you have this space. How much would you charge me to rent this booth for a day?
For the day. That's all I got for you right now.
I like that.
It was a day rate, honey.
What's the day rate?
It was $75 a day, which I thought was perfect, because I was charging like $7.99, $6.99 when I first started doing luxury extensions. So I was like, oh, I say less,
Yeah.
I'm like, I got this. So for the day, I'll call you and let you know when I need the space. And he had multiple stations. So he was like, just whenever you need me, just
agreement.
Call me. No, nothing.
We're not locked in.
He's like, just call me. $75 a day. Cash app it to me. It's all yours.
I like that.
So I was like, perfect. So whenever I would get a client from out of town, I would then book it for the day. And then I was like, okay, this works. And then I moved here after that became like, I'm like, financially it didn't make sense anymore because I was paying $75 a day, but I was there too often. Yeah. And it made more sense to do it weekly then because I'm like, hey, so I got a girl, I got to come tomorrow. He was like, I got a girl. I was like, I mean, literally $75 a day is making no sense to you anymore. So I waited until that became the case. And I was like, so do I want to rent from him completely or do I want to invest in a bigger space? And that's kind of when I took that leap of faith. And I said, okay, I think I'm ready now. I think that if I step out on faith, that I'll start to attract more clients. I can create my own environment because that was another thing too. I couldn't control the environment in his space. And I wanted this luxury client, but his salon was not luxurious.
Yeah. And I want to stress this. This is just the beauty and growth because sometimes we're rushing and we want to jump out there and we want to get these, big buildings and, we want to have.
Yeah, you want what you want.
Yeah, we want to have this place where like, this is nice. And it feels good. But what doesn't feel good is when that rent is due. When that rent is due, it doesn't feel good.
It don't add up.
So I want to stress, like, you have to allow your business to push you into the next level.
Yeah.
Right? You don't need to try to put yourself in a position where your business is not there yet. Allow it to grow. Allow it to push you into that space. So then you go and you make enough money where you're like, okay, now I have so much income coming in. It's time for me to transition out. You transition out, you open this place.
Yes. So here we are.
We are here at Kay's actual location. We're going to give you guys like a little tour.